the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Emra and the fourth estate, the scandal be ebabeto abonten ninyina efa company bi a friend strategic mobilization Ghana na afi Ghana Revenue Authority and National Petroleum Authority sa company miensa we na scandal no de efa wo ho na very simple ninyina ene se sa company a friend strategic mobilization Ghana Limited a yehia no tia friend no SML ade say aban epa no in 2017 say omra meboa Ghana Revenue Authority and afi NPA na sika bi etimi fefe famanfo nsase enom ne kwan ebefa so aton ye fango wabra ye nya ho problem bi omma meboa but scandal no ebeto abonten no ekire say year bia ye ma company we $140 million ewa abra adwuma no a won esesa 1 year no bon enya adwuma no na no credit say the fourth estate edebetu edwana na yenko tie Paul Adom ochire.
And the allegation in the documentary by our friend Manasseh, Fourth Estate, Suleiman Brahma and Kwame Kaikai. I'll show you their photographs later. I'm building up a story. I'll get there. They put out a story and said that a company called SML has been given a contract by government. The allegations they made was that the company SML is doing a duplication of some work that has been done, etc., etc. We're going to set out the conversation clearly. We hope we can do this in 15 minutes. We're going to set out the conversation clearly for you to understand, as we always do. We're going to make sure that you understand it, because it is the truth. When we heard the story yesterday, we dashed to their office there in Osu, not too far from us, and I sat down with them. Last night I was with them, and I said, "You SML, are you the people who are duplicating and collecting money from government for nothing?" Well, they laughed and said, "Okay, come in." I went in with my people. We sat down, opened the books. Let's see what is there. Then they showed us. Okay. We are quite convinced and satisfied that what they are telling us is true. So we're going to share it with you. Okay, so the Ghana situation of how you get fuel into your car is what I'm going to describe to you, and then I'll show you what happens after that. So let's get started. Madam Timer, please get started now. All right, let's get started. This is the truck, this is the tank, and this is the pump. What all of us are familiar with is the pump. This is where we go and take our fuel. But where does the fuel come from to get into the pump? It is loaded from some international place, because our refinery at Tema is able to do some. It's not able to refine all the oil, all the petroleum products that we need in Ghana. So there are some refined products, very, very little, sometimes nothing from Ghana. Everything is imported from Abuja. So you go to, there are international companies, Trafigura, Glencore, blah, blah, blah. All of these BDCs go and take fuel from there and then bring it to Ghana, and then you sell. The thing about fuel is that you can never make losses. You will never make losses, because it's a consumable that we always need all the time, not just for our cars, but for many, many things, for our energy, fuel, all of that. So all you need to do is to go and bring the fuel with a bank credit and then send it to the pump. And then when we go and pay, and you can't credit fuel in Ghana, you have to pay cash. Well, for most of us, a few companies can credit, but they always pay. So we go to the pump and pay, so the money is available. So fuel is not something that you take from one end and it will remain in your hand. Once you take it from the other end, you'll be able to dispose of it at the other end and get your money. So that's fuel. It's a very good business. So this is how it comes. So tanks, fuel comes in here, into these tanks. Some are privately owned, some are owned by companies, some are owned by different people, but this is the real McCoy of the business. Whoever has a tank farm is the controller of the business. He is king. Tank farm is king in the petroleum distribution chain. The tank farm is king. Okay, so it comes into the tank here, and then it goes into the truck, the fuel truck, and then the fuel truck then distributes it to the pump. Okay, so let's discuss the question of taxation. What governments have done over the years all over the world is that they put taxes on petroleum, because that's one of the surest ways to get money. So when you buy petrol for X amount, there's an amount that you pay at the pump, which is not just for the petrol. When they build the petrol and you say 1 gallon is what, and they say 1 gallon is 3 cedis, and you pay 3 cedis. That 3 cedis is more than the cost of the actual fuel. government has put taxes on it because government needs to raise money. All over the world, governments do that. From time immemorial, governments do that. So when you buy fuel for 5 cedis, you have paid maybe 2 cedis as taxes and 3 cedis for the fuel. So you go to the pump and you say, I want 3 gallons. And they say 3 gallons is 15 cedis. It's not 15 cedis. 3 gallons may be 9 cedis. But there's the tax builder that makes it 15 cedis. So whatever they tell you at the pump is the price of the fuel plus the taxes that government has imposed on it through parliament and through other levies here and there. So you pay sanitation levy, this, that. All of that goes through parliament and it's approved. So people take their money and then they here give the rest to government. Okay, what about the one who has the tank farm? He's the big player. And I said before that the tank farm is king in the petroleum distribution chain. So the tank farm guy, he takes fuel from here and he distributes fuel to the truck to go. When he's done, however much fuel he distributed to the trucks, he declares it to the Ghana Revenue Authority. He said, I distributed fuel of 100 million gallons to the truck, is gone. So the money will come back to me. 100 million gallons will come back to me and I owe you taxes. So the Ghana Revenue Authority goes to this guy and says, how much fuel did you distribute? He says, I distributed X. And based on that X, he's taxed. The question here then is, the declaration that is made by this tank farm man about how much fuel he has put here always becomes the problem. So I'm trying to explain the problem. So you are sitting in Ministry of Finance. Tank farm man says, I distributed 100 million. Okay. He actually tells that information to the National Petroleum Authority. He does. He gives that information to the NPA. And then the NPA will give it to the GRA. And then that's how he's taxed. This is the situation. GRA and government become worried that how do we know that when the guy says to NPA that I distributed 400 million gallons or metric tons, it is actually 400 million because the declaration that he's making for the purposes of taxation. And knowing human beings and given the way we all are, it is very likely that human beings are going to be tempted that something that they are declaring for the purpose of taxation, they will under-declare. That's the situation. Human beings will be tempted to under-declare whatever to keep a bit more. So anything that people are declaring, that's why sometimes you are in your shop, you sell rice at a rice master in some shop. One day you are there, some nice guy wearing a white shirt, usually short sleeve with tie. They show up and say, this is my name, I'm from the Ghana Revenue Authority, I've come to check your wares. Why do they do that? They do that because they are not sure that whatever you are telling us month after month, year after year about how much rice you've sold, that you are declaring it correctly, because human beings are wont to under-declare when it's for the purpose of taxation. This is human beings' nature. It's like eating and taking a shower and all of that. It's human beings' nature. Once there's opportunity to do that, there's temptation that a certain percentage, it may be small, but they will do that. So Ghana Revenue Authority sends their officers to the nook and crannies to enter the shops and say that, let me look at your wares. And then they'll calculate, today is what? Thursday, end of the month. You have 16 bags of rice here. At the end of the month, you have 16 bags of rice. We will assume that every month you sell 20 bags of rice. We'll tax you on 20 bags of rice. And then it becomes pool make a pool, as they say in Pidgin, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it's that same principle. What is the guarantee that the guy here is actually giving you the figures that are correct so that you can do the taxes? Now, enter SML. As a result of this problem, and this is an age-old problem, and this is a problem that people benefit from. That's the key. And I'm not so sure whether the journalists who did the work were hired by people who are benefiting from this, or that they did not notice that some people benefit from this. We'll get there in the conversation. So there are people who can benefit from it. If they distribute 500, and they tell NPA that NPA is the National Petroleum Authority, and they tell NPA that we have distributed 400, they will pay taxes on 400. The rest of the 100, they don't pay taxes on it. This is the problem that the government observed. Every government has observed it. Every government tried to do that. There's been revenue assurance in all sectors, from Kojo Ban, reduced time, in the telecom sector. Almost every sector we have tried to do revenue assurance. That's what Suba was doing at the telecom center. Now the NCA has built facilities in NCA to be able to do that themselves, because a revenue assurance is always very, very important, and it is necessary. Revenue assurance is necessary. I'm not so sure whether people who did a documentary didn't understand it, but revenue assurance occurs everywhere in the global world. Okay, so this is how SML came in. So SML comes in to come and sit in between the tank farm and the truck. At the stage where the tank farm is discharging into the truck fuel, SML is there to tell VRA that we were here and this company, this particular company, could be anyone, distributed 50 million gallons of fuel. So they write to GRA, 50 million from tank farm 1, 70 million from tank farm 2, 100 million GRA. You should be expecting this amount of tax revenue. That's what SML is put here to do. Because these tank farmers will report to the NPA by themselves, and together with the NPA, they will do that. But we will show you in this presentation that that reportage to the NPA is not sufficient for the calculation and tabulation of taxes that are due and should accrue to the government at the Ghana Revenue Authority. So this is why SML was brought in to sit here. Why SML? That's another story in terms of technology. Do they have the resources, the technology to put it up? It's a technological issue, and the GRA board and the Ministry of Finance that gave them the contract must have observed their technological strength. If the documentary was talking about they not having the technological strength to do it, it would have been better. So these are some of the equipment, as you see on the screen, that are applied by them. They have to install it. They have to install it at the tank farm and install it in the systems of the petroleum people so that they know, it's like metering. So they know how much fuel has been delivered from this tank farm into the truck and is going to the Total, the Shell, the Goil for all of us to buy, so that Ghana Revenue Authority does not need to wait for the NPA, who is actually not looking at taxes. NPA is looking at quality of fuel. That's what NPA will be looking at. We'll come there. Okay, so this is where SML sits. I'm being signaled that I have to move on. All right, so the SML story is here. So before SML came in, viewers, before SML came in, at the average, this is between 2018 and 2019, the reporting was 350 million liters of fuel per month is what was reported throughout 2018 and 2019 at the average. 350 million liters of fuel was reported, and these facts I'm giving you are verifiable. I'm not so sure why documentary makers, they don't look at this. This seems to be the crux of the matter. I'm not sure why they didn't look at this, but we'll talk about that. So 350 million liters of fuel per month was used, was being reported in 2018 and 2019. This before SML came in. Let's see after SML came in what is happening. So after, we put it here. Now, after SML came in, 450 million liters per month as of June 2020. This indicates a rise of more than 33% in volume reporting, and an average of an extra 100 million liters per month, which translates into revenue. Is that not shocking to you, viewers? Is that not shocking? Did the documentary makers see this? You see, when you're a journalist and you allow yourself to be hired by bad, evil, demonic people, you will not look at this. Because people who are benefiting from the system, they always do that. We get that all the time. They always come to a journalist and say, come and say this because they've lost a business or something. The journalist has to be intelligent enough because of the role you occupy as the fourth estate. You should be intelligent enough to be able to look through the matter and ask them questions. What is the problem? What problem are we solving? What is the issue? If you do that, you will not put out a documentary that has so many factual inaccuracies. That is embarrassing to journalism. These things they do, I don't know why they always do that. Why do you put your work there as a journalist and people come and tell you that what you said is factually inaccurate? How do you feel about that? I don't even get it. A serious work, if you are joking about something, I said Solomon Mengo went to Presec, he went to Bishop Herman, that's okay. But you put up your work, like the work we do, all the documentaries we do, you put up your work and then somebody comes and says, this one is factually wrong. Something that could have been checked. That's something that ought to have been aware. You ought to have been aware. Something that was within your disposal. When you do that, you embarrass the profession. People look at us and they disrespect us because they think we are not intelligent. Because if you are intelligent, this is very basic. But why don't you look at it? Anyway, so 450 million is what is now being reported. After SML came in, where was the 100 million going? The 100 million liters, where was it going? That's the problem. It was being lost to the state. And the Minister of Finance of Ferrata and his people come in and said, look, we are going to do assurance. And it's done in many parts of the world. The reason why you can't do that in England and you can't do it in America, they have quality assurance right there. And it's reported, sometimes published on websites all over the place. This is what has happened. 450 million is what is being reported now. Plus 100 million liters was not being reported. It wasn't being reported because there was no SML. SML were not there. They were not standing here. It was only this man and that man. And they can decide what they tell GRA. Now SML is there. So SML is telling GRA that no, they are lying. They are not delivering 350. They are delivering 450. So GRA can calculate its taxes on 450. Now, what is wrong with this project? We are going to get into it. Why there has to be a documentary to bastardize the company, set out, and the story is so bizarre. Set out people, the man says that he didn't know he was being recorded, something. I mean, I'm not going to deal with that. That's okay. I'm going to deal with the people who confronted the situation without properly drawing out the facts to give to their audience. And we're just talking about something, setting up an agenda, something steeped in evil as always. Anyway. All right, so now this is the situation between the NPA and SML. Somebody asked the question, and that came up, that the NPA is already doing that, and that SML is duplicating what the NPA does. So we went into that and spoke to NPA people, spoke to customs people, and spoke to the SML people. And this is what we found out across the conversations. NPA's purpose of receiving that data, the information of how much petrol has been set out, is for the purpose of monitoring markets for policy formulation and standard compliance. So NPA is looking at the product and being sure that there's no water in the fuel. When you say you are doing V-Power, you're actually doing V-Power. And then when you distribute the fuel, they look at it and see that at Christmas time, more was distributed here. So when it's Christmas, we should do more. NPA's purpose is not for taxes. NPA's purpose is for policy formulation and standards compliance. That's what NPA does. So when the documentary maker says that SML is duplicating NPA's work, it just means that they were actually very, very lazy. They didn't go beyond. They were just too lazy. And that's the thing they say about us journalists all the time. You people are lazy. You people are lazy. Why do you do this? Always making the younger generation of journalists struggle with image, because you are dissipating the image with this kind of poor documentaries. Very, very poor work. Can't you do work for people to applaud? What is this? You look at NPA. There are so many lawyers in Ghana. There are so many people in petroleum industry in Ghana. You can go to any of them and say that, what does NPA do? And what? Because journalists don't know everything. We don't know everything. But you have to have the presence of mind that because you are going to educate people, you have to ask. And the people who are listening to us, some of them are knowledgeable. They always turn off their radio and get angry in their car. That what are they blowing? They are blowing hogwash. You don't even know what they are talking about. Don't be a journalist that you talk and people say you don't know what you are talking about. You are dissipating the image of the profession. Manasseh, you I'm talking about. Stop that. Every day you do something is wrong. The last time you said VRA gave contract, they said they didn't give contract. Today you say something and Ghana Revenue Authority comes out. They say they didn't do that. You say contract is 5 years. They say no. You say it's 10 years. They say no, it's 5 years. It's on the document. Didn't you read the document? I mean, why? What is all this? Well, SML is here. They are there specifically to find the information for the purposes of tax monitoring. Taxes. They are looking at how much taxes is due. How much taxes should accrue to the GRA? That's their work. They are checking the fuel for the purpose of taxes. So all they are checking is how much fuel did you deliver. They are not even going into, is it good fuel? Is it fuel and water? Have you add ajongo to it? Have you add cooking oil to it? What is happening? They are not doing that. They don't have the capacity to do that. All they have been asked to do is to find out how much was sent so that we can tax them. NPA is doing something else and something perhaps more important, which is to find out the assurance of the standards of the fuel in the tank. So they are asking us send us that data. So they are doing two different things. And when we were told that there's a duplication, we were interested in the duplication story. So we began to investigate it, and then we came across this. And it was people who told us, people we called and said, listen, you have been in petroleum for that long. Explain to us, what does NPA do? Then they explain, and this one explains, oh, we got the idea, we understand it now. That's all. That's what journalism is about. You ask questions, don't you? Anyway, so this is what they do. So that's why you can see that there's a difference there's a difference between the two of them. Now here's the contract. Okay, I'll go to this is a Ministry of Public Procurement Authority. This is from the Public Procurement Authority, signed by Frank Mante. Let's see the details about the contract. Okay, it's here. It says, we refer to your letter number so and so and dated 20th September 2023 and our subsequent response number so and dated 26th September 2023 on the above subject matter. At the 46th board meeting of the 5th PPA board held on Wednesday, 20th September 2023, the board granted approval to Ghana Revenue Authority to use the single source procurement method in accordance with section so and so as amended to re-engage the services of Messrs. Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited SML for the expansion of scope of work to include upstream petroleum products and minerals and metal resources value chain audit, verification and monitoring for a duration of 5 years at a service fee of $0.75 per barrel of petroleum products per month and 0.75% of the total volume value of mineral resources monitored by SML Nova exported per month. This letter supersedes our approval letter of date so and so and so and so. This is another letter, isn't it? This is another letter. So this is the first letter. So SML were already working. Now, because they were able to report from 350 to 450, the Ghana Revenue Authority decided that we should add more to their work. Now they are monitoring what they call in the petroleum industry downstream. Downstream is the retail, the one that we go and buy. Upstream is the people who are digging. They are exploring and digging the oil from the ground. I don't know, they are ground, but they call them upstream. This is on the underground, but we call it downstream. What can you do? It's terminologies of the experts in the industry. So downstream is the retail. Upstream is the one that they are inside the water under